Sensational. Perfect contestant. I want him.
He must pay or play the running man.
On your mark.
I'll be back.
There's this thing that happens when you're so busy running that you forget where you're going. Your body just goes, adrenaline takes over. The world blurs into motion and noise and the hammering of your own heartbeat. You feel alive, sure, but you're not really thinking anymore. You're just moving, and sometimes that's enough. Sometimes the movement is the point until you stop and then you realise you've been running in circles the whole time. This is Frameshift, where we watch expensive movies sprint past their own ideas. And today we're talking about Edgar Wright's remake of The Running Man, which is very good at running and significantly worse at knowing why. Here's what this movie thinks it's doing versus what it actually does. It thinks it's a scathing critique of late-stage capitalism, reality TV, bloodlust, and the way corporations gaslight entire populations into fighting each other instead of fighting up. It wants to be angry. It wants to matter. What it actually does is deliver a really well-made action thriller that sprints so fast through its own politics that by the time you leave the theatre, you mostly remember Glen Powell looking stressed and things exploding. It's less a call to action and more a very stylish anxiety attack. Let me be clear. This movie is competent. Edgar Wright knows how to make a film move. Every shot is intentional. Every cut has rhythm. The man could edit a grocery list and make it feel like a heist sequence. The problem isn't craft. It's that all that craft is in service of a movie that desperately wants to say something but keeps getting distracted by how cool it looks saying it. Glen Powell plays Ben Richards, a guy who's been fired from multiple jobs for having the audacity to get mad when bad things happen. His baby is sick. His wife might have to do sex work to pay for medicine. They live in a dystopia where you wait in line to visit a park and eating ice cream is a once-in-a-lifetime event. It's bleak. It's supposed to make you furious, and it does for about 10 minutes until the movie decides it would rather be a chase film than sit with any of that rage. So Ben enters The Running Man, a game show where people get hunted for sport on live television while the host, played by Coleman Domingo in full charismatic sociopath mode, whips the audience into a frenzy. The show is rigged. The system is corrupt. Ben meets underground resistance types who give him gadgets and speeches about fighting the power. There are podcasters, there are secret networks, there are moments that want to feel like a revolution is brewing. But here's the thing, revolutions require stillness. They require people talking to each other long enough to build trust, strategy, ideology. This movie does not have time for that. It has 30 days of Glen Powell sprinting through alleys while drones chase him and assassins try to murder him on camera, which, to be fair, is exciting. Wright stages action like he's conducting an orchestra. The fights are brutal and kinetic. The chases have real momentum. You feel the exhaustion in Powell's performance. He's sweaty and pissed off and trying not to die, which is a very reasonable response to being hunted. The problem is that the movie keeps trying to convince you it's about something bigger while doing everything in its power to not slow down long enough to actually be about it. There are supporting characters who could have been interesting. Michael Cera shows up as a gadget guy with a dead dissident father. William H. Macy is a gun dealer in the Resistance. Daniel Ezra plays a pro-runner podcaster. They all make strong impressions. They all get about 4 minutes of screen time before the movie rushes past them to get to the next set piece. And look, I'm not asking for a 3-hour meditation on class struggle, but if you're going to build a movie around the idea that people are being oppressed by a system that distracts them with violence while stealing their futures, maybe give me one scene where someone sits down and talks about what they actually want instead of just running away from what they don't. The movie gestures at ideas. It wants credit for being political, but it's too in love with its own momentum to commit. The original 1987 Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger was dumb as hell and knew it. It was a neon-soaked carnival of violence that didn't pretend to have answers. It just said, hey, isn't it messed up that we'd watch this and then let you enjoy watching it anyway? There was honesty in that. This version wants to be smarter. It wants to condemn the spectacle while being spectacular. And you can do that. Paul Verhoeven did it in RoboCop and Starship Troopers, but those movies had venom. They were genuinely nasty and weird and willing to make you uncomfortable. This one is too polished, too sleek. It looks like the thing it's trying to critique. By the end, Ben is supposed to inspire the masses. His rebellious acts are broadcast. His anti-capitalist slogans get printed in zines, which, yes, is a choice in a movie set in a high-tech surveillance state. But we never actually see the people he's supposedly inspiring. We're told they're moved We're told things are changing, but the movie doesn't trust its own premise enough to show us regular people waking up and deciding to fight back. It just keeps cutting back to Ben running and Josh Brolin looking sinister and Coleman Domingo selling the spectacle. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the movie is trying to say that even our revolutions get turned into content, that even our rage gets monetized and repackaged and sold back to us as entertainment. That's a decent idea, but if that's what you're going for, you have to commit to the bleakness. You have to let the ending sit in that emptiness. Instead, this movie wants to have it both ways. It wants to be a crowd-pleasing action thriller and a biting social satire. It wants you to cheer and think, and it's not quite good enough at either to pull off both. I think we deserve better than movies that dress up like they have something to say and then sprint past the hard parts. We deserve stories that trust us enough to sit in the anger and the complexity, because spectacle is easy. Spectacle is everywhere. What's rare is a movie that actually believes people are capable of more than just being distracted. The Running Man runs beautifully. It just doesn't know where it's going, and by the time it stops, you realise the finish line was always just another starting point for the next race, which maybe is the most honest thing it says. We're all just running. The question is whether we're running towards something or just running out the clock. Anyway, if you enjoyed watching me get weirdly intense about a Glen Powell movie, there's more where that came from. I'll be here, still trying to figure out if having a good time at the movies means we're not allowed to want them to be better. See you on the next episode.